By far, one of the biggest questions for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has all to do with Kylo Ren's redemption and exactly whether or not he will turn back to the light side of the Force from the dark side in Episode 9. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, what's really exciting about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film is going to offer many different twists and turns, as well as surprises in this movie, that's going to change our view of course, the past 8 Star Wars films that come before this one, that's really going to give fans a better sense of the Skywalker saga and exactly how J.J. Abrams really wants to change things. Now, one thing about Episode 9 that a lot of people have their eyes on is, of course, Kylo Ren and his endgame, whether or not he's going to stick with the dark or head back to the light. And I think that's by far one of the big key components to the character of Kylo Ren in Episode 9, and why fans are very curious about this movie. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and all thanks to MTV News' Josh Horowitz. He actually got a chance to speak with J.J. Abrams, and he was able to ask him a very important question about Kylo Ren possibly being redeemed and whether or not he will be in The Rise of Skywalker, and this is what J.J. Abrams had to simply say. So J.J. Abrams states, "I will say that with an actor like Adam Driver, you can never limit what the man can do. I will say that without talking about redemption or not, that he is mind-blowing in this movie. Like, he brought a whole other level to this, so I can't wait for you to see what happens with him. It's pretty fun." Very interesting stuff. Of course, J.J. Abrams dodged the question there. He's not going to go out and say, yes, he's going to be redeemed, or no, he's not going to be redeemed. Obviously, J.J. Abrams is not going to answer that. But that was J.J. Abrams' response to, of course, that big question on Kylo Ren's redemption and whether or not it's going to happen in this film. I want to go over what J.J. had to say about Adam Driver and how he said you can never limit what that man can do. How he says, "I will say that without talking about redemption or not, that he is mind-blowing in this one, and that he is very excited to see what we can actually see once this movie drops, involving Kylo Ren, portrayed by Adam Driver." Now, like I've said before many times in the past, Adam Driver, in my opinion at least, for the Star Wars films, pretty solid actor, I will say. Very good actor. He really does play the character very well. I think that he really was meant for the character of Kylo Ren. You really can't imagine it being anybody else, at least in my opinion. So Adam Driver was the perfect choice, in my point of view, for the character of Ben Solo / Kylo Ren. It's just how it is. So when we look at The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans are wondering whether or not redemption is the best route to go for the character of Kylo in Episode 9. Now, you guys may recall the leaks that we went over a couple of months ago involving the spirit of Sidious actually taking over Kylo Ren's body, eventually where Kylo Ren dies by the hands of Rey because he actually begs her to kill him. And once Kylo Ren dies, he is resurrected by Luke's Force Ghost and comes back as a good man once again as Ben Solo. Now, that would be the ultimate way to bring back Ben to the light side of the Force, not by will per se, like not by his own will, but of course just by, things happening naturally and things happening as they go along. And I think what's great about that is that this really does give a different side to Star Wars. We do know that the concept of possession and, of course, resurrection will be a part of the third act of Episode 9 and will be used in surprising and shocking ways in order to really take the fans by surprise for the final film of the sequel trilogy. Now, on top of all of this, Kylo Ren is a very complex villain. We do know that in the first and second act of this movie is that J.J. Abrams wants to explore a far more evil version of Kylo Ren than we would have ever seen before in the sequel trilogy, where he eventually becomes conflicted once again in the third act, where we have the big baddie actually ending up in the movie, that of course being Episode 9's Emperor Palpatine, where he's going to actually have a 1-on-2 battle or 2-on-1 battle, whatever have you, against Rey and Kylo Ren. And I think that's going to be the highlight of this film, is to see exactly how Kylo and Rey are going to put up that fight where they form an alliance to take down the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious. So, with that being said, this movie does have a lot going for it. It does have the potential to mark itself down as the best film of the sequel trilogy, without a doubt. And the fact that J.J. Abrams really is trying his absolute best in order to give the fans what they want to see involving Jedi, Sith, and Force lore, I think is very inspiring and ambitious of J.J., George, and Chris Terrio. So, the last thing I just want to touch on here is that, yes, we do know that one of the tracks in the teaser trailer number 2 by John Williams at the very end is actually said to be a track that involves a heroic act by Kylo Ren. And a heroic act by Kylo Ren is a big indicator that he will be turning back to the light side of the Force in some way, shape, or form to go up against Lord Sidious, also known as Emperor Palpatine, that takes over the Dark Acolyte's body by use of his own spirit/Sith Wraith. Now, this movie, like I say, very dark. They're aiming to make it the darkest Star Wars film in the Skywalker saga. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.